Okay, so now it's time to head back up the mountain. Owen is saying we need to kind of hurry up and hike back up the mountain before it gets dark. We need to move at a faster pace. So I'm behind Owen again. I don't know how I keep ended up in front of this trek because I'm clearly the weakest link, but I'm behind Owen. We start hiking back up the mountain. Of course, we passed that little flat ravine area, and of course it starts pouring down rain. So we passed the ravine and it starts pouring down rain. I did have a raincoat. I didn't put the raincoat on because I was just so hot. Once the initial rain had stopped, the sun had come out and it was just so hot hiking down the mountain. And at that point, I just didn't care. Like I said, I was fading fast. I was really tired and I was feeling pretty exhausted. And the feeling got worse because when I looked up, all I saw was just a straight up incline to go up the mountain. And I was just like, we really got to go straight up this mountain to get back to the top. So we're hiking. And at this point, my legs literally, they feel like noodles. And I'm like trying to get up the mountain, but it's like you literally on the Stairmaster. You just walking up and up. It's no flat land. It's just like you're hiking up, straight up the mountain. So after about 20 minutes of straight uphill hike, Owen stops. We take a little break and he's looking at me and he's like, do you think you're gonna make it up the mountain? And honestly, when I don't know if you ever been so tired, like, and somebody's talking to you and your eyes are just glazed over, it's like you don't even care what they're saying. Like, why are you even talking to me? Because I can't even understand what's going on right now. It's actually giving at this moment. So he basically just gives up talking to me and he starts talking to my sister and he's like, Tay, do you think she's gonna make it up the mountain? And she's like, yeah, she's fine. So we continue to hike, and at this point I'm falling every other step. Like, I cannot stand up straight. I'm actually climbing up the mountain at this point. I'm on my hands and knees and I'm climbing, trying to get to the top of the mountain. I'm not even standing upright walking. I'm crawling up the mountain, y'all. So finally, Owen looks at my sister again and he's like, do you think she's gonna make it up the mountain? And he's like, we have other alternatives. We have options. And so my sister is like, well, what are the options? And he said, we can send the African helicopter. And she's like, okay, send the helicopter. And so he tells her, okay, he's gonna call for the helicopter. He gets on the walkie-talkie, he calls, it says that we need the African helicopter. And I'm thinking that, a helicopter is gonna come rescue me. And he looks at me and he says, I'm gonna leave you with Ignacio. If you remember, I showed the picture of Ignacio at the beginning. He probably is like 50-something-year-old African man. He had his AK-47 and his machete. And he was like, I'm gonna leave you with Ignacio, but we're gonna continue to hike. We're gonna hike at a faster pace. And he's like, I'm gonna leave you with Ignacio, but you have to continue to hike. You will just go slowly. So I'm thinking to myself, why I gotta keep hiking if you sending a helicopter to come get me? Like, what is going on? And then also I'm feeling bad because I feel like I'm slowing down the group, and I don't know. I was just having a lot of emotions, but I continue to hike slowly with Ignacio, and I'm just still confused about why am I still hiking if the helicopter is coming. And I asked him, I was like, why does my sister have to go with you? Why can't she stay with me? And he's like, she can't fit in the helicopter. And I'm thinking to myself, why can't she fit in the helicopter? So me and Ignacio, we continue to hike, and I'm just so frustrated because I'm so tired. I'm so hot. I'm cold. Like, I guess because I was wet from the rain, like my teeth was chattering, my body was shivering. Like, it's just like I was just breaking down. I don't really know. And I'm getting frustrated. I'm like, oh my God. I'm just like hiking and I'm yelling. And Ignacio, he's so sweet. He was so patient with me because every time I would get frustrated, he would just stop and he would try to talk to me about, the gorillas, facts about the gorillas, or he would talk to me about the vegetation that was around. He was just so patient with me. So now I'm hiking slowly, and I'm trying to get to the midpoint. Owen is telling me that I have to get to the midpoint because that's where the helicopter can come get me. And that's also where everybody will be taking their lunch. So I'm hiking with Ignacio, and I'm feeling like I just can't catch my breath. It's like every time I breathe in, it feels like my lungs are on fire. And I guess that's altitude sickness, or that's what it feels like, when you're in an altitude that you're not used to being in. It even gets to the point where I am so frustrated. Owen, he grabs my hand like this. He interlocks my hand. He is like pulling me up this mountain, y'all. Like, he is pulling me up the mountain, trying to help me get up the mountain. I mean, shout out to Ignacio. I couldn't have done it without him. So finally, we get to the midpoint. Owen told me that I needed to make it to the midpoint because that's where the African helicopter could come. And so we get there, they're finishing up their lunch. My sister sees me. She's like, "Hey, Court," she gives me a hug. And, if you recall, I said Dan bought that bag of bananas. He had given my sister a banana. She tried to give me some, but it's like I couldn't hold anything down. I was just, I don't know, I was breaking down. And so his daughter, she noticed that I was still like chattering, teeth chattering, body shaking, and she's like, "Dad, can she have your coat?" Because he didn't have his jacket on, he had it in his book bag. And she's like, "Can she have your coat?" That, Dan and his whole family, shout out to them, because we definitely wouldn't have made it without Dan and his sweet kids. And so he gave me his coat. That's the green coat I had on in the video. And so they started hiking back up the mountain. And I'm sitting there, I'm waiting on the African helicopter, and I'm confused because I'm like, I don't hear a helicopter. I should hear it by now. So my sister later, she told me that as they were going up the mountain, all of a sudden she started hearing just like footsteps running down the mountain. It was like 10 men running down the mountain, which that was the African helicopter. So those guys came, as you saw in the original video. They laid out the stretcher and the mattress. They told me to get on it. And I felt so bad that they had to carry me up the mountain. But apparently, this isn't the first time that this has happened. So it was 2 men in the front, 2 men in the back. And they carried me up that mountain. And as we were going up the mountain, when somebody would get tired, they would switch out. They'd never put me down, but they would switch out, as they were going up the mountain. And, I felt bad, but it didn't seem like they were in a bad mood. They were laughing and singing and having a good old time. So we went up the mountain. I don't think that I can stress like how steep the incline was on this mountain. I had never seen anything like it, but I don't know if you could tell, but that's me on the African helicopter. I don't know if you could tell how steep that mountain is, but that was the mountain that was the route that we were taking to go back up the mountain. So finally, after about 20 minutes or so, we made it to the top of the mountain, and I was just so grateful to be done with the gorilla trek. Not that it wasn't a great experience. Like, I would recommend it to anybody. I mean, it was a once in a lifetime experience. I'm glad I did it. But I would definitely say do your research, because after the trek, my sister, she looked up more information about the gorilla treks, and apparently there are different levels of intensities of the trek, and prepare for altitude sickness if you're not used to being sky high, basically. So just do your research before you decide to go on a gorilla trek. But it's definitely a once in a lifetime experience that if you have the opportunity to do, I would say to do it. But shout out to Ignacio, shout out to Owen, shout out to Dan and his kids, shout out to Hamina. She was so sweet, her and her husband. They were very patient with me. And shout out to my sister. She a no limit soldier for real. She went up that mountain. She carried my stuff. I love you, baby. At the end of the trek, they do give you a certificate of completion. I didn't think I was going to get one, but I did. But, I look pretty horrible in this picture. If you can see, my hair is no longer straight. The color is drained from my face and my lips. And I'm dirty and crusty, dusty and musty. But it was a once in a lifetime experience. I'm glad I did it. That's my Jet 2 holiday story. Thanks for tuning in.